everyone, welcome back to another leg and glutes workout. Today we'll be focusing on equipment you can find in an apartment gym. So we're going to start off with some compound movements. We're doing some Smith machine squats and we'll do about 12 to 15 reps for 4 sets. This Smith machine is great to find more stability in your movements and more support as well. So you just want to make sure your core is engaged. Your feet are a little bit wider than hip distance. You can use a band around the knees if you wish, and you just want to focus on squeezing your glutes all the way down and as you push back up. You want to push from your heels and again keep your core tight and your neck tucked in slightly to protect your spine. Make sure your knees are facing outwards and not caving in. And also make sure your back is straight, there's no hunching or caving in at the spine. This will protect your lower back, and keeping that core tight will also protect your back. Muscle-mind connection is super important, so make sure your focus is on the glutes the entire movement. I'm also increasing my weight for the second and the fourth set to make sure I'm getting those gains. Next, we're moving on to Smith machine good mornings. This is a great exercise to do on the Smith machine just so you have more support and stability. Place your feet wider than hip distance and you want to make sure you hinge from your hips backwards while keeping your core tight. Make sure your chin is tucked slightly to protect your neck and your back, and you want to lean your torso forward as you hinge your hips back. Again, keep your glutes active the whole movement and focus your mind on the muscle. I'm doing this for 4 sets and increasing the weight just on the second set. And you don't want to go too heavy and you don't want to lean forward too much because this will target your lower back. And just make sure you're pushing from your heels and contracting your glutes. Make sure your knees are slightly bent, especially on the way down, and never lock your knees in any movement. This can be dangerous for your knees. When you've reached the full range of motion, you can pause for a second and squeeze your glutes, and then push back up. Next, we're moving on to a single leg movement. This is one of my favorite workouts for the glutes. We're doing elevated reverse lunges on the Smith machine. Use a plate or a platform to increase the range of motion. This will target your glutes a lot more. You just want to place it a little bit in front of where the bar sits, and as you come down, you want to lean forward. This also targets your glutes a lot more rather than your quads and hamstrings. As always, keep your core tight. This will protect your lower back as well as create more stability in the movement. Make sure you're pushing from the heel on your front foot and make sure your knee isn't caving in, and step back at about a 45-degree angle. You don't want to step back too far. As you make your way back to the platform, make sure you're driving from your front foot and not pushing from your back foot. I'm doing about 8 to 12 reps per leg for 4 sets and increasing the weight on the second set. The last exercise we're doing on the Smith machine are hip thrusts. I like to sequence this exercise during the end of the workout, just so my glutes are completely warmed up. Position the bench behind you so your upper back is sitting nicely on the bench. Keep your knees and your feet at a 45-degree angle. If you keep your feet too far forward, it'll target your hamstrings, and if you keep them too far back towards your glutes, this will target your quads. Keep your chin tucked in, and you want to make sure your head's moving as you move so your gaze isn't towards the roof. Keep your core tight and make sure you pause and squeeze your glutes when you make your way to the top. And you can also squeeze your glutes all the way down and as you come back up. but you really want to make sure you're focusing on that squeeze when you make your way to the top. Your feet should be pointing out slightly. Make sure your knees aren't caving in, and make sure you're pushing from your heels. You can do about 12 to 15 reps for 4 sets. If you do go heavier, you can lower your reps to about 8 to 10, and make sure your mind is connected to the muscle the whole time. The last exercise we're doing are cable kickbacks. These are an isolated movement. You want to make sure you keep these for the end of the workout. I'm targeting my gluteus medius here, so you want to make sure your foot is slightly pointing outwards and you're not coming all the way forward with your foot and not all the way back. This will target your lower back. So you're just engaging your glutes the whole time, making sure your core is tight, you're leaning forward just slightly, and your left leg or your leg that's on the floor is slightly bent at the knee for more stability. As you can see, I'm kicking slightly outwards at about a 45-degree angle. This will target your gluteus medius more rather than the gluteus maximus. Make sure you're squeezing your glutes when you get to the top. And I do about 15 reps for 4 sets. And that's all for this apartment glute workout using the Smith machine and cable machine. I hope you learned something new, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!